Hey, this is the members Zoom hangout. Um, and Bill was just reporting uh, on the Dev Tour contracts and want to report, Bill?
Just to say that we've got issued the contract extensions to the core development team out through the end of October, and so we're gathering those, and it's going really well. I think there's just a few outstanding, and I anticipate that they'll all be in here probably by the end of the week. And then we've got some good candidates for the successor of Kelly as project manager. So those things are going really well.
And I was just saying that the liquid voting with Robot on Discord is working almost. In the collab and the robot testing, we have the voting. Okay, the ballot macros. We have a new ballot, create ballots. Some of this we had before. We have allowed to vote. Now we have communities where we can create like a community and then add members. And then we can allow members of the community to vote on an issue. So for example, we have the collab community, and that's currently as these people which have they have a delegate. If they don't vote, whose vote counts for them. They have an inbox. This is where we give them capabilities and permissions. And then we can vote on issues. We did a new ballot on colors. Where is it here? I voted for the color red. I allowed all the members of CoLab, I allowed them to vote on the color ballot. So because I'm a member of the CoLab community, I can vote on the color red. And then I can look at, I can allow all the community members, where is it? And then I can get the vote results on the color metric, and I can see that these guys didn't vote. And so I have 3 votes for nil, or they didn't vote, and 1 for red. Very basic contracts, they're very wordy at present. And they use fake Discord keys. It is possible that we could actually do some voting on RChain using Robot. We just beef up the security on these a little bit. So, Fabian, what's on your mind today?
Today, just really listening in. Nothing major to report over here. We're just having a conversation about IOB5 in a previous meeting. A lot of us have been talking about staffing in the future and setting up some plans around what's going to happen when we reach mainnet, which is really just a mere 3 months away. So we've got a lot of things in front of us that we're working towards achieving.
Awesome. Daryl?
Hey guys, I have one question for you, Jim. This voting system that you're putting together, it looks exciting. The thought of like being able to vote, if I'm understanding it right, to be able to vote on Discord and have it recorded on RChain.
That's correct. These are, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So my question is, are you proposing this as a potential way for a vote to occur regarding the IOB5 issues?
I think it would be good for gauging sentiment. I don't know that in its current form, it's a prototype. It's not suitable for a formal vote.
Okay, okay.
It would take some commitment of some people to make it secure. If we wanted to do that, if we could take a significant commitment.
And Jim, wouldn't that making it more secure be best done on Keybase?
Yeah, but that's not the problem. I think doing it in Discord makes sense because that's where the membership of RChain is.
Okay.
That's the official place where
I see your point.
We would have to run Robot on a secure server somewhere. It would have to be run by the co-op because unless everybody ran their own Robot, the private keys are going to have to be kept by Robot.
And Jim, what exactly is Robot?
Robot is a bot, a Discord bot, okay, which does Mac Robot, and I'll put the link in there. But basically, you can define macros. Like I'll show the print macro.
So Bill, it's a Rolang interpreter. So what you do is you put commands in a Rolang smart contract and deploy it, and then Discord actually runs those commands for you. So like what Jim is showing now,
Right.
It's actually Rolang code that's doing that.
So a print command will do a new standard out. Write standard out to the expression, so I can do print hello world, whatever. And it runs the resulting Rolang. Oops. So it runs this Rolang, which then prints out hello world here. Okay, so it's just a macro processor in front of Rolang that runs on the robot.net, which is currently a standalone server. We're hoping some people will get engaged and help run this as a service on testnet. but we may put it on the sandbox first and then test net later.
Okay, thanks for that, Jim.
And I'll put the links in there on macrolang is what we call it. Okay, so Gary, what's up? You taking some notes, Gary?
No, not today, but if anybody wants a transcript, I'll do it on Otter AI. But what's up with me? Let me get my screen where I can. Oh, I've been really into this. Okay, on Dig Live, this article on the New Yorker of the invention of money, and this their description of fractional reserve banking, especially. And I'm having a discussion with Michael Linton about that. This is very interesting to me. And also, what else? Members. Oh, the other thing was I've been playing around with Dimworm's Puzzler this morning in the Rolang channel. Where did he put that? Anyway. Was it Rolang? I can't find it, but anyway, he had a question about how is Rolang treating these parallel processes inside, not a function, but a macro or whatever we call those things in Rolang. And where was that? Was that on Colab or the main Discord? Oh, we're red, right?
What were you looking for?
Oh, that discussion that Dimworm was having this morning over this piece of code. And I think it's, I kind of looked like it was important, but something strange appears to be happening in this code. Isaac says this is just a guess, but it's probably happening because of normalization of par. This shouldn't be the case, though. It should be, as you said, Dimworm, randomly one or the other with 1/2 probability. Okay, those are the things that I've been looking at lately. And I'll stop sharing now.
Yeah. Well, we've done lots of those tests, and we know that it's not really random.
Yeah, I realize that, but that was
what causes. It seems. I mean, it'll work the same way 5 times, and then the 6th time it'll be different for some reason. And so we don't know why it's not random, but it's also not random.
okay. I call on
Non-deterministic, right?
yeah. Now it appears to be deterministic, but I mean that's what it looks like. But okay, who next?
I could go. Is the dev team aware of that? You said Dimworm's on top of that, right? But is the dev team aware of what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really in the reporting bug stream of things, but I'm guessing Dimworm is more on top of that than I am.
Okay.
That's in the Roland channel on the in the regular.
Yeah, the main Discord. I thought we were on Colab. I might not have posted if I if I thought we were on the main Discord.
Okay, cool. Oh, am I going? Okay, so my concern right now is wallets and what wallets we have lined up for when we go live and we do the Rock to Rev conversion. And I don't know if anybody's heard anything from Ed and his progress on his wallet. But, you know, we're going to need, you know, at least one that supports Rev. So that's it. Rick, do you want to go?
You're on mute, Rick, if you're talking.
He put something in the chat. Yeah, this is something that we just started discussing yesterday internally, and we really want people to start voicing instead of chatting. So not to put you on the spot, Rick, you know, we get it, but we don't want to have other people read other people's chats, so that person becomes their voice. So we'd really like when people attend meetings in general to kind of move to a model where people are, you know, vocalizing, you know, what they have to say. So
Hey, Ned.
I don't know what you guys all think about that. Hey, Bill.
Hey, no, I was just going to go back to your comment about the wallet.
Mm.
So are you talking about, like, for those of us who don't fully understand, could you explain a little further? I mean, are you talking about a community wallet, a wallet that's held by the co-op? I mean, we probably all have, you know, private wallets here, but could you elaborate further on that?
Sure. So I'm talking about your own personal wallet. So the way the Rev conversion works is, so right now, let's say you have your Rock stored in a MyEther wallet, and you own the private key. So I'm not talking about if it's stored in MyEther wallet, but your private key is held in a Nano Ledger or some other hardware device. But somehow you, because while the Ledger device has a private key, it's kind of hidden, and it's you have to go through some hoops to actually figure out that private key. But let's do the simplest case where your Rock is stored in a MyEther wallet, so anybody can see the Rock at that address, right? Because it's a nicely formed Ethereum style address. You could use any of the Ethereum explorers, and anybody can see the Rock at that address. Let's say you have 10 Rock at that address. So now when we go to mainnet and the conversion happens, you're going to get an equal amount of Rev, and but you're going to have to get a new wallet address because that Ethereum wallet is no longer going to be valid for Rev, right? So that Rev will no longer be an ERC20 token. It will be, I guess we could say, backward compatible, but if you wanted to send Rev to something, like stake a smart contract or do a transaction, your Rev address is going to be different. And the way it's different is there's, when we do the conversion and you get your 10 Rev for your 10 Rock, your new wallet address is going to be your Rock address plus some number of characters that go at the end of that. So some kind of suffix will be added. So let's say your wallet address was 123. We do the Rock to Rev conversion. You want to get access to your Rev, and you will be told what that extension is, or maybe it'll be universal for everybody. I don't know. But I guess it'll be universals. But let's say that suffix is 66. So now your wallet address for Rev is going to be 12366, and that's your new private key, and that's what you're going to need to do any kind of transactions with that rev. So whether you want to send it to an exchange and you want to cash it in, or you want to fund a smart contract deployment, whatever you want to do with that rev, you're going to need that new rev address. So again, in this case, your Ethereum rock address was 123. You take the suffix, which is 66, and now your new rev address, when you hit the send button on a wallet, is going to be 12366. As of now, except for the wallet I believe that Ed is working on, there's no other wallet that will give you that access to the rev address.
Ned, I missed one part in there. You said that will be your new address and that will be your new private key. Could you talk a little bit more about the private key?
Yeah, let me try doing some kind of whiteboard thing. Maybe this will help. Let's see if I have access to it. Okay, cool. So everybody can see the whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you have an Ethereum style address. I'll make it a little hexy. So let's say it's 1A, 2B. Okay, and that's your private key, and you're the only one who knows that key. And if you go on my Ether wallet, want to send Rock or any other Ethereum token to somebody, when you hit send, actually to even log in, you need to enter your private key. So let's just say it's 1A, 2B, and this is for Rock, and let's say you have 10 Rock, okay? Now, after the conversion, when Rock goes to Rev, and it's a one-to-one conversion, so you'll have 10 Rev, but that Rev is no longer at this address, right? So this address will only hold your Rock, and it will hold your Rock forever, but that Rock won't be used on the RChain platform anymore, right?
Ned, question right here. So when the conversion happens, if I go to that private wallet address, will I see the rev?
No. So you're saying if you go to 1A, 2B?
Yes.
You'll see the Rock, and that'll be there in perpetuity, forever.
Yep.
At that
Right.
Ethereum address will always be 10 Rock. Now, you may talk to somebody and say, hey, I got 10 Rock, I want to sell it to you, and and they don't know any better, and they buy your Rock, but we're in mainnet now, and the only token RChain recognizes is Rev, but you still have access to the Rock, and so you could do, and that's something the co-op has to really be on guard about, all these scams, like people trying to dump their old Rock, which has no use on the RChain platform anymore. Okay, so now, but let's go back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, unless there is a new wallet like you're going to describe, you won't be able to see the rev.
Right. So we do the conversion, and we're going to publish a suffix. And maybe Ian knows, but I'm assuming this has to be a universal suffix, but because I don't know how we're going to tell everybody what their individual suffixes are. But let's say we come up with a new suffix, and let's say that's going to equal FF. Okay. So now to get your new wallet address, it's going to be 1A, 2B, F, and this is your new private key.
Okay.
Right? So that's your new private key. And let's say my Ether wallet supports Rev. You would go to my Ether wallet, and when you log in, you would have to use this private key. And if you do, lo and behold, you'll see your 10 Rev sitting at that wallet address.
But that is my private key, but I built that off of a public address?
No, this is your private key.
Okay.
No, that's actually a really good question. So I've been talking about the private key, but you do have a public address. So let's say your public address is 5CD 1. This is your public address.
Well, from the private key, you can generate the public address.
Yeah. Well, when you create a MyEther wallet, they give you a public address, but you also have your private key.
Right.
But you give it a private key, you can always generate the public key.
Okay, yeah, right. And so now that's a good question. I don't know if that public address changes.
It would have to, because
Right.
the new private key would generate a totally different public.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you get a new private key of 9/8. I don't know what the format is going to be, but let's say it's something like that. So this is your new public address. So I could actually, because this is all public, non-private blockchain, anybody could build an Explorer, and I could start looking at all these addresses, and I would see that you have 10 rev here. Now, I could only see it. I can't transact with it because I don't have the public key. Right? I don't have the private key, right. So if I wanted, so I see, oh, Gary's got, 10 rev now at this address, but I don't even know it's Gary. But let's say Gary tells me his public key because I want to send him 10 rev. So he sends me his public key, and I look at it and say, oh, he's got 10 rev there. Okay, so, cool. Now, but even though I see the public key, I can't do anything with it because I don't have the private key. But Gary, who has this private key, can now send this to anybody he wants to. Right? So that's why the private key in blockchain is so important to keep it private, because it's only with that private key that you get access to the balance at that address.
Okay, I think I understand that now. But I was missing the trick about being able to generate any, being able to generate the address from the private key, I think.
Yeah. So here, the issue is right now there's no wallet that is going to support this kind of rev address. And I'm assuming Ed's wallet will, and hoping that other wallets will support this, because without that, while you'll be able to look at the public key and see that your balance is 10, you won't be able to do anything with it because there would be no wallet that will accept your private key. So if you think of MyEther wallet and then you hit the send button and it asks you for the private key, it won't know to do that with a rev token.
Okay. Thank you. That was good. We may have to cut this segment out for a frequently asked question session.
I think I could. Oh, let me save this. I don't know if it's worthy of being saved. But
So,
yeah.
So Ned,
Yeah.
is the creation of the wallet, is that like a private enterprise type project, like anybody could do it and push it out there, or is there another way to think about it?
Anybody can do it. Like Ed's been working on it, and he's a private person, right? And I don't think he's on a bounty program, and I think he's just doing it on his own, right? So anybody can build a wallet. I think I saw Nutzipper here, so I don't know if he knows of anybody else who's building it, or if we have any folks in Asia who are working on a wallet.
I'm not aware of particular persons.
Okay, but the wallet is something that we definitely need.
And is that suffix that you have noted there, is that related to the wallet specifically, or is that sourced somewhere else?
I don't know how that suffix is generated, but the suffix on its own doesn't do anything. You need to add the suffix to your private key. So just having, so I don't know if, Ian, do you know any of the details on how that suffix is generated and if it's generated for everybody?
I don't, but I mean, I haven't spoken to people about it, but I think I understand in principle how it would work is very much like you said, where's my camera? So just like with Ethereum, your private key is cryptographically linked with the public key, and the public key is basically like your wallet address. So your Ethereum private key for your rock, you will add something like an XYZ to it, and the public key, which would be then linked with that private, would be where your rev balance is held. But I haven't seen the algorithm how to get from the old private key to the new private key. You know what that suffix is, how many digits or letters.
But I think what I don't know is everybody going to have the same suffix?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because otherwise I don't know how we would even get everybody their unique suffix. That was part of it.
Right, and there is some code that you can get to on GitHub that was recently improved. I think they ran through this genesis of taking all the 16,000 or so known rock addresses and converting them over to rev. That's adding the suffix to the key, etc. So that just last week, I know that they got past some kind of blocker where they were able to parallelize that generation. So it would take, instead of a couple days, it would take like 12 minutes.
Yeah, my understanding is still not perfect, but they're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it sounds like some of these answers are in that code and should be on GitHub.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is something that we should add to the website when we get close, so people know without having to look through code how to do this. So anyway, stay tuned.
Yes, Nutzipper just asked, could someone explain what we're trying to achieve with the suffix?
It's a easy way for people to get their new wallet address, to have their new private key.
New private key from their own private key.
Right, so you have to have access to your old private key. And that's why we're not going to be supporting anything but a wallet where you own your private key. So for now, if you have your coins on KuCoin, you don't have the private key. So unless we come to an agreement with KuCoin where they're going to convert for everybody, you will not be able to collect your rev because you don't own that private key.
Which might be an approach for maybe, if not all the population, if we could come to an agreement with KuCoin to handle this for everybody. Wouldn't it be nice to just have all your money on KuCoin and then let them handle all this risky stuff or confusing stuff?
So my personal opinion is yes. I mean, I tend not to keep anything on an exchange, but I have gone through other crypto projects conversions, just like this one. And for that time period of the conversion, I have kept my tokens on an exchange and I've always been fine. And I agree. I think it's always been kind of a no-brainer to just have the exchange handle it. And then as soon as that
That is awful idea.
What was that?
I believe that is awful idea. You shouldn't recommend anyone to swap coins on exchange, because if exchange will release these coins they will tell that there is some maintenance or some kind of issues during the swap, everyone will blame you and not the exchange.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying my personal experience. This is not an RChain endorsement. My personal experience is I've done this half a dozen times, and I've never had a problem. But it's certainly worth noting that a lot of people don't trust the exchanges at all. So, yeah. So, two different, yeah, and they're both valid opinions, right? You know, I liked it for the convenience, but I could totally see. And what I was going to finish saying is, as soon as the conversion period was over, which typically has been like 3 days, I then go to the exchange and immediately move whatever was converted to private storage. So, yeah.
Why should we use suffix? Why just don't use private keys from Ethereum wallet?
This was decided way before I joined RChain, so I don't know the rationale. That's a great question for Greg.
So the wallet addresses will be different from wallet addresses on Ethereum.
It'll be your Ethereum private key plus the suffix.
No, RChain wallet addresses will be different from Ethereum addresses, as private keys are different.
At that point, yes. For the rev, yes.
So
They will no longer be Ethereum private keys. They will be rev private keys.
And it just occurs to me that there's no telling what your new address will be until you give the private key. I mean, how could you? There can't be a way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm finally with NutZipper. I don't see why we even need the FF.
You have to have a suffix. You have to make that new private key different than your existing private key. Your existing private key is to rock. The new one with the suffix will be to rev.
Oh, it's on a different network. I mean,
Yeah, that's the different network. Say that again, whoever volunteered that.
So like I said before, your rock is always going to be there. At that, with your old private key, you always have access forever to that rock. Except that rock doesn't work. Once mainnet goes live, that rock will no longer work on the RChain platform.
I mean, Rock never works on the RChain platform. I mean, they're
Ethereum.
Oh, yeah.
I think I just got it, but I don't want to try to explain it.
It's just a placeholder right now, right?
Yeah, like Rock works. I mean, in testnet, you could get some testing Rock. I guess it's technically Rock. It's a Rock address, but it only works, test for testing. So like if you're at the command line and you deploy a contract, a smart contract, you're going to need the address and your private key to unlock the rev from that address to deploy with your smart contract. And that rev address, the private key to that rev is going to be your old private key plus the suffix.
I'd be curious to hear an answer to NutZipper's question as well. Why not just keep the same address scheme as Ethereum? It would just be simpler. I'm not sure what the reason is.
It's something to do with the fact that we're no longer going to be in ERC20. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has an answer.
Yeah.
And so I've been with the co-op for a year now, and this was decided way before I got here.
I just thought of one probably very useful reason for doing this is just so we'll know when we're looking at them what we're talking about. If you see the suffix on there, you know you're now talking about an RChain private key. If you don't see the suffix, then you know it's something else. So just identification purposes alone. Does that satisfy anyone?
The way I understood it was because they were using a different algorithm for the encryption.
Yeah. Before it was crypto algorithm that is not Ethereum. So I wonder if this suffix stuff is a fresh talk, because as far as I know, about 3 or 4 months ago, team decided to move to the Ethereum private key, public key cryptography.
So does that require more characters in the string?
No, it's just people can use their Ethereum private key to access their Rev vaults. So
It just makes us more compatible.
They don't need to get their private keys somehow modified to get this private key to be acceptable by the other crypto algo. So it was my impression that suffixes was needed to just private key be compatible with the old crypto algo.
Oh, I see. For some reason, this makes it compatible with the one we're going to.
I'm not sure what you mean by compatible. It's not compatible. The Rev is not compatible.
Well, no, I meant the new key in the encryption algorithm we're using. We needed to pad it possibly for some reason to make the new key compatible with the new encryption format.
Again, I don't know. It's a great question to ask Greg. You know, maybe when the community meeting gets opened up, that'd be a good question.
Yeah. I think that's what I was referring to. They just, a few months ago, they changed part of the encryption algorithm so they could more easily generate the Rev address from the ROC address. And
we also want it to be more.
They actually will be the same. No.
We also want it to be, I think it's two different issues, Jim, because that was done, I believe, to be more compatible with how Ethereum, the Ethereum algorithm. What was it, Blake 256 or something else?
right.
But this issue with the suffix and getting a new address is long predates that.
Yeah.
Right, so maybe the suffix is no longer necessary because we're using a more similar, or we're using the same addressing scheme now.
No, I don't. Let's not say that because I haven't heard anybody. I haven't heard that at all. It's still going to be
right. I was trying to find the dev update that talks about the that.
Yeah, but this is different. The Rev to Rock, or the Rock to Rev. It's your new private key is your old private key plus the suffix, and I don't believe that has changed at all. But again, good question to ask Greg at the community debrief.
I'm not sure because, you know, private key for SECP 256K1, which is used in Ethereum, should be well formed, and it should be, if you add just some just some suffix, this won't be the valid private key, as far as I know.
Jim, you're on mute.
I think we got a status from everyone but NetZipper. Did you want to talk about the sandbox or other things that are anything else on your mind this week, NetZipper?
Yeah, I was working on the RChain API. I finally made it working with the last release, 11th release, and this was a slight progress from yesterday's DApp community session. I finally made it work, but some, yeah, but some, when I made a pull request, I saw that Travis is executing some tests that I haven't seen, and they are failing. So there is some changes in the protofile that explains the par messages, and more specific, it's gprivate turned into unforgeable. There is a field ID, and it turned into unforgeable. So I should somehow understand how this should be fixed in the RChain API. Maybe I will ask Dan Conley if I won't figure out real quick.
Yeah.
So that's it. Status app is working. Everything's good.
Awesome.
We need to polish UI, I guess, and try to connect it with the RChain.
We should probably try to run the status app during the node testing, maybe. See if we can get a few people to run it and see how it works.
Yeah, I think we can try this.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really great news.
And we have the sandbox operational, right? That's it for. I guess I'll report on it. Steve Henley and.
Sorry. Yes, it should be. I guess you have access to Rundeck, so it should be operational. Thomas started the sandbox yesterday or the day, I don't know, Monday or Sunday. So it should be working. You can try to connect to this. If someone wants to run their node as the validator, you can ask in this sandbox channel, so we are able to deploy any bonds file with the network start. So we can, for example, put there 100 keys, and 5 of these keys will go to the validator that are run on the hardware provided by the co-op, and the others can be community validators. So we can just try stuff before it goes official on before we can bond on the public testnet. And actually, this will make more easy to do proposals, because you can propose now on the public testnet. So when you deploy, you have to wait for a validator to propose. It can be a minute or 90 seconds. So on the sandbox, you can propose right away. Then you deploy the code, and then you immediately propose and see if it works. So this is kind of good reason to use sandbox testnet if you're running DApp.
So this is the process. This process is automated here. choose options to run a job. Contract to deploy. There's a lot of things, this is really the first time I'm I was given access to run that yesterday.
Yeah, to make sure you don't record some important
Don't
stuff.
break anything. Yeah. But I guess during node testing or sometime we'll go over the different options here and learn how to do this.
What is run?
You're saying the first thing we want to do is add more private keys so that we can run validator nodes on SandboxNet.
Jim, what is that? What is that run deck?
It's an open source tool that they use to monitor the dev net and the test net.
Yeah, I think Tomasz wrote it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's an open source tool which they have configured to do the RChain stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really cool to see everything that's going on with your R node. And you could deploy, and yeah, it's very, very cool tool.
So the whole dev team is using this, or just the community?
Dev team, we just got access to this for the sandbox only.
I see.
It's it's used by ops and devs or whatever. I don't know. Okay, so we have 1 minute.
Yeah, let's hop over to the other meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Right. Thank you.